live streaming every Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Facebook and YouTube. With real conversations and fresh perspectives. Would you like to be my guest? Give us a call at 888-552-1944. Today's guest, Kai Lee. The topic, his first year of college. So sit back, relax, and enjoy another episode of Stewart Spotlight Podcast. Now your host, William Stewart Jr.
Good evening and welcome to Stewart Spotlight Podcast. My name is William Stewart Jr. and I am your host this evening. I want to thank you for tuning in and watching another exciting episode that we have every week. Thank you. I hope everyone had a wonderful week. As I'm always saying, getting ready for the weekend. You know, this weekend is Memorial Day weekend. So get those grills together and hot dogs and ribs and chicken and all that good stuff to be prepared to eat. Today is Friday, May the 22nd, 2026. You know, every week I'm always asking for your support. So therefore, I need your support to do this.
Hello, my name is William Stewart Jr. I'm the host of Stewart Spotlight Podcast, which airs every Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Facebook and YouTube. A talk show based on faith, life, culture, and personal growth. I would love to have your support by pressing the like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment. Make sure you turn on your notifications so therefore every time you hear this, you know Stewart Spotlight Podcast is live. Would you like to be a guest on my show? Give us a call at 888-552-1944. Once again, thank you for your support, and may God continue to bless you.
That's right. Make sure you leave some comments. Give us some feedback on how you enjoying the show, so therefore we can pass it on to others. As I stated before, Monday, since we're not going to be on Monday, May the 25th, it is Memorial Day weekend. And we want to honor all of the American soldiers and families on behalf of Stewart Spotlight Podcast. As I always talk about every week, I'm always getting a message from a friend of mine, Bud. And he always leaves me a message every week, and I think I like this one for this week. It clearly states that if you cut me off, let me try it again. If cutting me off make you feel like you would be better, then do it. However, do not try to come back when you realize I was never the problem. Let that marinate a little bit in your soul. My guest today is Kai Lee. Kai Lee is going to be my guest today on his first year in college. We're going to talk about what has he learned and what was all the hoopla about going to college. So after this small little break, we're going to have my guest to come on, and I'll talk to him about college. We'll be right back after this break. That's right. Visit my website, Stewart Spotlight Podcast, if you want to purchase any of those items. As I stated before, welcome back to Stewart Spotlight Podcast. My name is William Stewart. However, my guest today, I'm very happy to have him because he came on last year before he went to college, him and his friend. So we having him, Kylie, back on the show this week to talk about his experience in college. So without further ado, let's welcome Kylie. Welcome to the show, Kai.
Good evening. Good evening.
And how are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm pleased to be here. I'm very pleased to be here.
I am so glad that you took the time out to come on back onto Stewart Spotlight Podcast to share some of your wisdom and knowledge and experience being a college student. How about that? So how was your week first?
It was great. Getting accustomed back to the home life part of it, the grace period when you're not in a dorm with roommates.
Right.
So it's very jarring the first time, but
jarring. Okay, I like
jarring, big word. But that college terminology sticking a little bit.
I see. So when did you get back?
If I had to guess, I'd say the Sunday before the last. So roughly 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago.
Okay, so you had to break down everything in the dorm and move everything back out the dorm, back home. Then another few months, you got to move everything back home, back to the dorm.
Absolutely, it's stressful, but it's only twice a year you have to go through it. So.
Well, let me ask you a question. So how was the transaction leaving home for the first time? No family members around, no mother's cooking. How did you adjust? How did you adjust with that?
Well, I'm going to be honest. It was a rough transition. I will admit, it was liberating once you got the hang of it. The space, because I will admit, I have a very I'm blessed enough to have a very protective household, a very strict environment, if you will, on what comes in and out. My mother takes pride, and you've never been a follower. I'm starting to take pride in that too, especially after that first year of college. A lot of influence. But yeah, more so to answer your question, it was jarring at first. It was rough for the first few months. No sweet cooking to be made, those fresh gourmet meals and all this stuff, and just waiting for you to eat.
I know your mother, how she spoils you. I'm not even gonna go into that part, all right? But I know she may be looking and viewing this podcast, but I know she's gonna spoil you for the summer. But any plans for this summer? Working, relaxing, traveling?
Yes. Similar to last year, I recently have been reemployed at the pool monitor position for my park. For my neighborhood, so it's called. But it is a very informative job. A lot of my social skills have come from, interacting with people that come and go, just situations you need to be faced with. So very excited about that too, to be given the chance to reemploy. But other than that, just some family here and there, maybe a family trip. Sunday I have to do, but yeah.
Okay, sounds good. How many siblings do you have?
Living with me, one. I have a very wide family, so we're on 5 now.
Okay, all right.
My father's very active. Nicely. But no, they're all blessed.
You didn't have to say it like that now.
They're all blessed.
Okay.
All blessed.
Okay, my father's very active. Okay, that's a first. Okay, then let me ask you a question. What lesson did you learn from your parents that carry with you today?
Oh, there's so many answers to that question. Yeah. Just to give you a firm one that really came in handy is you need to treat every interaction like it's going to be your first and last. And that sounds like a It sounds kind of complicated, but when you break it down, it boils over to treat every interaction with a person with the respect they're due. No matter your mood, no matter if you're in a bad mood, a good mood, you approach them with the energy of your best.
Okay.
The best you is what they should be getting.
Okay.
And that really helped me make a lot of friends in college. If I kept my own moody ways when I was home moping around a little bit, thinking about, oh man, what do I want to do?
Right.
I don't know. Keeping that energy, that positive energy,
okay,
really helps people go, I like being around you. You know,
okay.
I like the energy you bring to the table, and
so
it's very.
I'm assuming you bring a lot of high energy.
Very much so.
If I can recall from last year, you brought a lot of high energy.
You can say that. You can put it that way.
Okay. Yeah. So now, growing up as a young man, did you have any mentors growing up?
In terms of my father, unfortunately, he wasn't there at home. He was still in my life, but a lot of my experience with the man side of things came from my older brother. He's done an amazing job. However, most of my life has been a lot of female guidance, which is great. Female wisdom is powerful wisdom. However, on the more man side of things, on the things only guys can say to other guys, men can say to other men, it's been a I can include you in that list.
I appreciate that. Okay.
It's been a fluctuating journey. I'm happy with where I am. I'm very happy with where I am as a person, as a man.
Okay, great. So, now, before we start talking about college, tell the viewers who's watching us today a little about Kai. Who is Kai?
Oh, if I had to describe Kai.
Yes, describe Kai.
Kai is someone who puts a lot of pride in thinking outside the box. I very much advocate for there's always more solutions than problems. There always will be. If you can't find the solution to a problem, approach it from a different angle. And that's kind of what it's gotten me in a lot of trouble, but it's also saved me many times in my life. It's also broadened my way of thinking. So I'd say I'm a very indifferent thinker. I like to view things from all angles. Like I said, it kind of ties into my previous point. I see all sides, the whole, I'm not going to get too much into it, but the whole political spectrum of this, she said, he said, this side, that side. I like to view it from the lens, which I think you can. I
was just about to piggyback on what you just said, because for the viewers who are watching, me and Kai used to always go at each other because Kai liked to think outside the box and try to outthink you, but I just have to bring them back in. Come on back in, Kai. Let's think about this a different way. So now, Kai, what is your major in school?
I major in biology. That is my life.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why biology?
I've always had a passion for animals. I think it also stems into what I said earlier about viewing everything from thinking. Animals are those creatures, they can't express themselves the way we can. And that's always fascinated me. Like, I need to know what they're thinking. That sounds a little, why do you need to know that? Just let things be. But to me, I see a dog and I see it wagging its tail happy, and I'm like, how does this creature view me? How do certain animals function? When this bug sees something, how does it those things have fascinated me. So of course I wanted to pursue a study in figuring out those exact things.
Okay.
Which also plays into my minor, which is psychology. Just further piggybacking on, I love knowing what goes on in people's heads. Not in any malicious way. I hope it didn't come off as that. But just after what you just said, it might. But
you better believe that one now.
But no, just the mind in general, not just human, but the mind is so fascinating. Just how you function as a person. what makes you you, because there's only one you. I that's another lesson to segue off your question from earlier. Another lesson that I'm very thankful I was taught. There's only one you, so you trying to be somebody else will never satiate, your desire.
So what makes you try to outthink another person other than trying to think what they're thinking? What's driving this?
So if you want, I have two answers. One is just it makes for a very fun dynamic, but for the more professional answer, it's witty, like that that back and forth between you trying to get in their head and they know you're trying to get in their head. So it just turns into this game of, can I read what you're thinking? Can you read what I'm thinking? And I believe it builds a bond. I believe it does build a bond of, I know you, you know me.
You
right?
should have been an attorney then. Since you're always trying to think.
My mother always says that. She said, you should be a lawyer with the way you are.
That's right, right.
Which is, not to segue too long on this point, but that was actually going to be one of my minors or my backup major. The only reason I didn't advocate for it is I don't have it in me to defend or prosecute an innocent person or defend a guilty person. That's the one thing that's always deterred me, because you're playing with livelihoods at that point. And as much as I like to argue, that's just never been something my conscience could allow, just personally. But
well, I'm so glad you brought that up, because we will be having some debate this summer then, right? Okay,
you're gonna remember this one.
You better believe that. What shocked you the most about college life?
Ooh, okay, that's a good question. I will say it didn't shock me, but the culture of college. Like in high school, I'm so used to just kids dragging themselves to one class or another. And certainly that was there in college. There were a few students that I could tell their parents forced them to come here. You're not gonna sit around all day. You're gonna go to college. You're gonna do something with your life. That's true for our parents. But to see these people excited, like people passionate about going to class, that environment of, yo, can you keep it down? Like, just some of my roommates. Yo, can you keep it down? I'm trying to sleep for my exam tomorrow. If I was in high school, you would never hear that. You would never hear those things. Perhaps you could from someone who really was serious about their education in high school, wanted all A's. But in college, that's like, it comes out of your pockets now. It comes from you.
Well, basically in college, you are the adult now. It's not like in high school, because in high school you can just move around, but in college, you have to come to a happy medium with your roommate and say, okay, I need some rest, I need some study time, or whatever the situation may be. So that's a working relationship there.
Yeah, that segues perfectly with the second thing I was going to say. Is just that jump into adult life. You put it perfectly. It's just that transition from I'm dependent to I'm independent. Right. That transition, that's a make or break for a lot of. That's why they say you peaked in high school. That's a phrase that you hear a lot. But college, that's really where it tests its mettle, if you will.
So now, was it hard to meet new friends?
No, I mean, especially with that mindset I said earlier, it would have been, actually. Like the way I approached, because first impressions last. A lot of people say you can fit somebody, the more they talk to you, that first impression. But first impressions, for a lot of people, that decides how this relationship in a way is going to play out, at least for a good while.
Okay.
Just making a positive first impression. I made a lot of friends. I still talk to them now, actually. I was just on the phone with one earlier saying, yeah, I'm gonna have to get off later. I have an important meeting I have to get to. So yeah.
Okay. So let me ask you another. Well, I have several questions. So how was it on your very first day on the campus?
Cool. If I could describe in one word, it would be unique. It was a very unique experience. I loved it because it was like, there's so much because my college, Gordon State College, for those who are curious, it's not huge. It's no university like Miami State or anything like that, but it is not a small campus. It'll take you 5 minutes to go from point A to point B still. So, me and my mother were talking about it's the perfect blend. You get that small life, like you still know everyone knows you personally, but
So
it's also
that intimate.
exactly, it's intimate, but it's still like that experience, that university kind of experience. So to kind of answer your question, to sum it up, it was that first day, it was both mind-boggling and beautiful at the same time. It was like, it's hard to describe, it's like one of those you have to be there situations.
So
like
that,
if anyone
so
watching
now
this,
so now the orientation was that the first day or the second day?
Orientation was when I got there. Yes, that was the first day.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
So therefore, you had the opportunity to meet people who you never knew. So therefore, you engage and try to figure out, okay, what's my next step? Where do I go from here? And therefore, you establishing friendship or associateship.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Well,
Associateship. You can't call everybody friends nowadays. You just say associate. All right.
That's fair. That is fair. It takes that's a strong word.
Yes, very true. So now, was college harder or easier than you expected, and why?
Okay. I'm going to answer this question very truthfully. I did not perform very well in high school simply because, like I said earlier, I was just there because I had to be there. You're young at that age. You don't really see the value in, giving your best education. I didn't know what I wanted to do. If what I wanted to do required an education, that kind of thing. And once I found my footing a few years after high school and I realized, man, I really should have given my all. It became that huge college search. Like, I need to find this right college, one that'll just take a chance on me, because I know if I get there, I'm going to dominate. That kind of mentality. Thankfully, by the glory of God, I did find that college in Gordon, and I'm recently coming off back-to-back dean's list for my first and second semester. So very, very proud of that. But to kind of answer your question in a vacuum, once again, it was easier than okay. It was hard. I'm not going to make it sound like for anyone that just wants to go to college and think it'll be a breeze. It is difficult, very much so. It's person to person. For me, it was the studying. The studying is, especially when you don't get it, it's demoralizing. It's so demoralizing to stare at a problem and go, I can't understand it, no matter how hard I try, which segues into my previous point. There's always more solutions than problems. So my solution was I get somebody that knows the material to come meet with me, and we just talk about it like it was a casual conversation topic.
Okay.
And that very much helped.
So now, do you think high school really prepared you for college? Because you said earlier that you wasn't really into the high school at that point. So was college a thought when you was in high school, or was it just an afterthought?
It was not a thought
at
for
all.
Me, at least personally. For me, it was because to my mindset, I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do yet. But to answer your question, because I do think that's a very important question, just to kind of focus on a little bit. I don't think high school prepares you at all for college, especially the way our education system is set up now. What's our country? Our education system is, at least on the high school, the grade to high school level, grade school to high school. Our education system is someone that has the privilege of saying, I've grown up in the latest generation.
Wow.
They don't teach cursive. They don't teach taxes. They don't teach any, like, a lot of my friends don't even have a signature, and it's sad. They just sign their name as they sign their name on a worksheet, on a paper worksheet, and I'm like thinking to myself, someone can imitate that really easily, Like,
so now, do you think it's the school, or do you think it's the location of the high school, because there are some high schools that's very astute versus others. So I'm just trying to compare.
I went to a public high school in our area, so I will say, unfortunately, it's always been true. Public high schools don't get as much emphasis on excellence as private schools, and that's always been there. Unfortunately,
Okay.
it has, but now it's to the point now. Unfortunately, Mr. Stewart, it's very blatant. It's very blatant that some of these kids aren't even given the building blocks. They're not even given the blocks, the foundation to stand on. They're very much they start with this with a beanbag at their feet. You know, they're hopping to the finish line now. They're not. It used to be like your generation, you kind of could pace a little bit. My generation is walking a little bit.
Let's back it back up. Your generation. You want to rephrase that a little bit? So what are you trying to say?
No, I'm saying your generation. Your school.
I understand.
Most high school definitely they taught you more. There was more substance in your education.
Oh, that's a good cleanup. Good,
yeah.
good way to come
substance.
back. So now, from what you know now, if you look back in high school, do you think you could have prepared yourself a little bit different while going to high school and what you know now versus then?
That's a great question. This pains me to say, but it's also funny to say. I think if me now went to Kai in high school and told him some advice, I am not 100% sure Kai in high school would have taken it seriously. It's important to admit that because everyone has a fault. I am unfortunately a product of he has to learn the hard way. I'm very much so, as my mother calls me, I'm a know-it-all. So for me, I need to experience it by hand, by mouth, by ear for me to truly grasp it. So, do I think I would have been a little bit more prepared? Absolutely. But I don't think it would have changed the outcome of where I am now.
Okay.
I still think I'd still be where I am now. And that's a great thing because I'm very happy with where I am now.
Okay, great.
But to answer your question, that advice would likely fall on deaf ears.
Okay. So now, how did you feel leaving home for the very first time going to college?
I was ready.
You were ready? Or were you trying to get out the house? Which one was it?
I was in no rush to leave home. Well, okay. There's double-edged sword there where, mama's love, mama's cooking, going out and playing on the weekends with my older brother, all of that. But part of me was ecstatic because I finally knew what I wanted to do. I had that euphoria, that kaboom, that light bulb went over my head. And I was excited I was scared, of course, because mama's baby bear ain't in the den anymore. You know what I mean? But I was excited for the chance to carve out my own path,
Okay. So
very important.
What type of individuals you met and you connect with at college?
I've met all kinds of people, as one would expect at college. I've met people from situations way more unforgiving than mine. Not to air any personal business, but some people, like you said, really just wanted to leave the house. Some people really just couldn't stand to be there anymore for some pretty unfortunate reasons. And others I've met are those people I said they were kind of forced to be there. Our attendee there, he actually went to the same college with me. Our last attendee from last year, he's had personal stuff going on, but he definitely we approached college with different mentalities. We approached the horse different from different sides.
Yes, so, I could imagine that because when you guys was on at the same time, I'm trying to figure out what was he doing over there that just his concentration wasn't even connected. But that's another story.
We're definitely gonna have a few viewers that go back to that spotlight and check
right. What was he doing? So now, have you experienced any peer pressure in college?
I'm blessed enough to not have a followers mentality. I am very much the kind of person where I don't judge. I silently think to myself when I see something I don't approve of, but I don't make like the scornful, I don't do that kind of thing. So when I smell, the most I will do is, for example, weed is very common, unfortunately. In my dorm it was. So I don't smoke and I don't drink. So when my dorm mates began to smoke, and I didn't mind at first because I was like, you live your life, I live mine. However, when the smell became an issue and it began to jeopardize our living situation, that's when I kind of had to pull him to the side and I was like, hey, listen, I don't have a problem with you doing that, but can you try and keep it to a low level, And we laughed about it. He was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know you could smell it." Thankfully, I had a very, if the term fits, a chill roommate. He was very chill, very cool.
He was understanding.
Understanding, yeah. Well, understanding's a stretch, but he had a few other moments I'm not going to mention. But
secondhand smoking is the worst smoke that you don't want to be around because that's a killer right there. But I truly understand that. But now, can you recall the funniest thing that ever happened to you in the first semester?
Okay, I actually formed a friend group in the first semester. I've actually been waiting for a chance to talk about this in a fictional setting. I had a friend group, and we'd meet in the dorms.
Okay.
Every weekend. It was kind of like our little found our clique in this big old college campus.
Okay.
And we meet, and me being the kind of guy I am, I was bought some carrots from, when I came back home with my mother. She said, "You can eat some vegetables." I was like, "Okay, I'll grab some carrots." So I got some carrots. I took it to my dorm. That weekend, I was just making some soup, some carrot soup, right? And as I was cutting up the carrots, and my friends, my roommates were on the game, if you will, playing the video game. And I turned around and I asked them in a very voice, "You guys want any?" And they all died laughing at me because they were like, "You are our age and you sound like you have 3 kids." And then I made it worse because the next thing I said made them laugh even harder. And I said, "Okay, more for me." And then I kept cutting my and they were crying, laughing. And I remember at that night, I didn't understand, why are they laughing so hard? And then I told my mom about it, and she started to die laughing. And then it became a whole trend. And now I can see why they were laughing.
So you took that trend from mom and brought it to the dorm.
Yeah, you can say that.
Basically, that's what it sounded like. That's exactly what it sounded like. Okay, all right.
So that was very funny. Yeah.
Okay, what class has challenged you the most so far?
By far, that'd be college algebra. That subject, when I mentioned earlier that no matter how many times I stare at it, I just can't get it, that stressful situation I alluded to, that was the course that made me have that revelation. It was very much one of those things where you can't just, because the way I like to learn is I like to put it off, get myself in a calm space, and then do the work. That was a course where you needed to clear your schedule to study for. Like when you go into a class period and you get a unit, you need to dedicate every last bit of your free time to that unit. It's very common for them to say in college, you're an adult now. Your free time is yours to spend how you see fit. Some people use all of it to study. Some people don't study at all. I would have been in that second category if not for college algebra, because I couldn't leave my desk until I get it. I wasn't having that moment. Because usually, as I talked about earlier, I am a little bit of a know-it-all, and Mr. Stewart can attest to it. I like to try and act
Ooh,
like
jeez, can I?
I can.
Boy, can I?
I like to use my supposed intelligence to weasel my way out of things. That was the first course in college that made me go, I can't instantly get this. Most times, thank glory to God that I had this gift. I can pick up on things pretty quickly. College algebra, it took a long time before it started snapping for me.
Okay.
Just because it was not what I was used to. So if I had to answer your question, definitely college algebra. Definitely.
Kai, I want you to stick around. We're going to take a little small break, and we're going to come back to continue talking about the first year in college. We'll be right back after this break. And we're back with Kai Lee. Welcome back to Stewart Spotlight Podcast. As I said before, we have Kai Lee, the first year of college from Gordon College.
Yes, sir.
All right. So as we left off, biology is your major, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Was there anything you learned in biology that completely changed the way you look at life or the human body?
Okay, that's a great question because there's a few things. So I'm going to focus mainly on one, just for the sake of time. It's really fascinating. I love talking about this to my right. When you really take biology, you realize most things in nature, a lot of people are jumpy and scared of certain animals. But when you realize we're the most feared thing on this planet, which is very interesting. Like when you start to look at the psychology of animals and how they view us, I always say, if I could leave one tidbit with anyone watching this, chances are what you're scared of is more scared of you than you are of it. That's a really good thing to keep in mind. You see a spider in the corner and you're screaming, that spider is terrified. Because you can likely kill this spider. This spider doesn't have a chance of killing you.
Right. I truly understand that. Because one of my biggest fear, I don't like those gecko, whatever you want to call those.
Yeah, little geckos.
Those things. They move too fast. They move extremely too fast, and I can't. I don't want to say kill it, but kill it.
Yeah, it's running from you, knowing it's going.
You're absolutely right. So, what study habits actually work for you in college?
Ooh, okay. I kind of highlighted on it a little bit earlier with what got me out of my college algebra funk. But my just the way I like to learn and study is I like to get a friend, or at least a person I'm close with that knows the material, and I like to just have a conversation with them about it, like it's just any topic, like an NFL game I missed or an NBA game. And when you put it in like that casual lens, suddenly that stuff you were confused about, it's like, oh, I get it now. Like just take the work out of the work, if that makes sense. Take the work part out of the studying. Try and make it fun for you, whichever way you see it, whether it be flashcards or
Okay.
But that's just my personal opinion.
Okay. Well, everybody has their own different way of learning, and group sessions or working one-on-one is, if it works for you, go for it. But now you're a student. You're a student at the college. What did you learn about money after starting college?
That's a question right there. Thankfully, I kind of developed this mentality thanks to being employed at my job last year, my current job now, my pool monitor job. I start calculating things by the amount of hours I work, how much I get paid an hour. So I have this story. I think I told it to Stuart a few times, where I'll be having dinner with my brother, and we'll be splitting a check, and I'll look at the menu, and I'll go 36, 24. That's like two, 3 hours of work. That's a lot. That's a lot of hours. So suddenly those like rash decisions, like I want to buy this $70 game, I want to buy these $60 shoes. I stare at it and I go, but is it worth 5 hours of my life? Is it truly worth?
Where did you get this theory? This theory, you got to calculate the hours. If a pair of shoes is $60, okay, that's about 4 hours of work. But
it greatly helped me in college though, because there was a lot of events I could have went to that would have cost me a lot of money. Like there were $100 parties to get into, and I was sitting at that door like, I worked 10 hours for some of these parties you want me to go to, just for me to not remember half of it. Absolutely not happening. So very much helped me.
What keeps you motivated when things get overwhelming?
There's mainly, if I had to put just one thing, it's the fact that I want the people around me to know that put their bet on me. For example, the like people that funded my endeavors in college, like maybe the ones that helped chip in on my trunk parties. Is that what they're called? I don't know what they're called, but when they help pay for your college stuff, I want those people to know they didn't put their investment in a losing stock, if you will. I want them to know that I'm going to repay this tenfold when I finally do get to the place I'm trying to get to in life. And I'm going to remember this, and I'm going to make you proud. That's kind of what motivates me.
That's good.
So yeah, that's mainly.
I like that. That's a nice theory. Okay, I'm gonna keep that in mind. Okay, I'm gonna keep that. Okay,
he said it twice. He's really gonna remember.
Oh, you better believe that one now. As a student, what scares you the most? Now think about this. As a student, what scares you the most about the future? I mean, what scares you the most today about the future?
As a student, honestly, what truly makes me fearful, not just me as a person, but just my life I live in general, it's just the seeming lack of awareness that struggling students have. Like if you're struggling, unfortunately, if none of the methods they recommend work, most people just go, it's not for you, you know, and that's not healthy. I don't think that's healthy for any person. If they don't get something and they try to get it and nothing works, I guess you can't get it. That's not, I don't approve of that mentality, because all of the common methods didn't work for me. I needed to find my own method. So my fear is we'll stay in this mindset of you got it or you don't got it, that kind of thing. I want us to get to a point where we transition to a more accepting. I want you to grow. So we'll find your way. I want you to grow, because the way not to get political again, the way our country is heading, it's very much turning into a dog eat dog world, and it's very sad to see.
It really,
so,
it really is. It's sad for Generation X, Y, Z, whatever you want to call yourself, to make it in the world today versus back then. But from your perspective, as are students learning more in class, social media, or through life experience? From your perspective.
My perspective, life experience.
Life experience?
Absolutely. Most of these kids nowadays, they're told about what they should be focusing on and what they're gonna do, and immediately after they hear that, most of them go right back to social media, swiping on their phone, swipe, 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 not retaining anything they just got told. I see it every day. My friend, not to bring him up again, I've seen that happen to him a few times. I've seen other friends that don't learn even after they get it the hard way. So it's sad, but life experience is truly the only way I think our generation, because we have such small attention spans now. It feels every new generation, our attention spans get smaller. So not to take too much time on the question, but then that could be its own episode. You know?
Yeah, that's true.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely life experience.
Let's break the ice a little bit.
Of course. We do that every day.
What's more dangerous? What's more dangerous? Finals week or cafeteria food?
Oh man. Depends on what day it is.
I understand that.
Yeah, cafeteria food, it changes day by day. So I don't know. You give me a Tuesday, I'll take the finals. But on the weekend, suddenly we have a more interesting question. So thankfully in college, as for people that don't know, I lived in the dorms. Well, you probably already knew.
Right.
I lived in dorms. And so my college requires you, if you live in dorms, to get the meal plan for campus, which some people argue that's not fair. I agree with it because they don't want kids starving on campus. You know, a lot of these are fresh out of high school teenagers. They don't know how to properly take care of their bodies. But I digress. To answer your question, I usually just make myself a salad in the cafeteria and I don't touch the fried foods because a lot of times there's things in fried foods, you know, not to ruin anyone's appetite, but some of these things they put in these foods make you want to become vegetarian. It's very, very concerning. But
I would think I would have thought that cafeteria food in the college would be a little bit more safer.
It's better than high school. If that's your question, high school, I'll take finals every single day of my house. High school food is not healthy.
Gotcha. All right.
I can get by on college food.
Now,
college cafeteria for me.
Okay, so now I know that you said you were struggling at one time with algebra.
Yes.
So, what's one class you took and immediately thought, why did I sign up for this?
If I'd answer, I'd say American government.
American government? Explain.
Okay, so I'm a very big history fan. I love history. I very much advocate. In fact, I was more sad when I saw there was a political report or something of subjects that don't matter, art, history, that blah blah blah, and that hurt my heart because I was like, why does history not matter? You know, we study history so we don't repeat the same mistakes. You know, so but American government, to answer your question, it took the elements of history that I love so much, and it modified it in a way where I knew I was only getting one side of the lens. You know, it very much, because when you read up on a lot of political things, which is what American government is, you really get a taste of what feels like subjective opinions being treated as if they're objective opinions, if that makes sense. Like, you're getting told things that you know aren't completely true, but they're treated as if they're law or fact, or, you know, it wasn't until like 5 years ago where we stopped celebrating Columbus Day because more research went into it. People found, why were we ever celebrating this? This was not a great event to be celebrating it. So moments like that, very important moments like that, there's more of them scattered. They're not as obvious as that one. But, you know, it was definitely one of those classes. I was sitting in that room and I was reading this textbook going, Is it too late to change class? Is it too late to
It was one of those moments like, why did I even sign up for this?
Exactly. Did I really pay money for this class? Oh.
But then how did you manage in that class? Did you drop it or did you?
No. Thankfully, I had a very, very good professor.
Okay. Okay.
Professors, this could be its own question or conversation, but professors very much play a role in whether your course was an amazing course experience or a terrible course experience.
Okay.
I had one of those very open-minded professors. Okay. So thankfully I could get through it. He was like, I don't need you to give me a whole 12-page paper on why this is wrong or this is right. I just want you to give me your thoughts. And you know me, I love giving my thoughts.
Yeah, we know that part. we know that part.
But, he knows. He very much knows.
Now, now between me and you, your mom is not watching right now. But what's the craziest thing you ever witnessed at a college party?
Okay, I'm gonna keep it low. I'm gonna keep it as PG as possible for our other viewers. I once I picked up pool. I picked up pool while I was in college. It was I had no clue how to play it, and now I can hit trick shots. But the segue is because the pool area was called game area, and a lot of the game area. I don't know if it came out clear, but a lot of people would come in with their partners and kind of sneak off in little corners of the game area while the rest of us are playing pool and darts. There'd be a couple getting a little bit too frisky in the corner. So you're sitting there like, I really don't want to have to call anybody. But at the same time, I don't want to go over there and have my night
and interrupt.
Exactly. Whatever you got going. And a lot of my friends just go, we have dorms. Just go to your dorm room. And I'm sitting here going, I think some of these people want to be watched. I think there's some people that just want to be watched.
It's so amazing what you learn in the first year in college as a freshman. The things that you go through and you witness and you're like, wow, they do this here on the campus.
I've got so many stories.
I could imagine.
We can make this an extra hour. Story time.
Now, you mentioned your eating were carrot soup.
Yes.
So what type of food did you eat regularly?
So a lot of people are likely expecting me to say the tried and true ramen noodles, noodle classic, because that's every college student staple, right? My mother, once again, going back to my mother, really stopped me from getting noodles because she's like, there's a lot of sodium. I don't want your body to get, and doting moms being doting moms. So I only got like 3 cups of noodles a shop run. So definitely not enough to like OD on the noodle.
OD it, okay.
OD, overdo it.
Yeah, I know, OD, right.
I know that was a more new term. Overdo it for those watching. Forgive me.
Okay.
But it was very much so. I had to learn the hard way. As Mr. Stewart said earlier, I'm Mama's little cuddle bear. I got a lot of food made for me. So I had to kind of teach myself a few things. So carrot soup was kind of something I picked up because I was like, well, we don't have any ranch left. How can I make these carrots work? So I made some broth, looked up some recipes, and here I am, feeling a little bit more healthy.
I got a couple of sayings when you're in college, such as a broke college student. Laying off ramen noodles. Tuition took all my money. Balling on a budget. I'm surviving, but not thriving. What's your survival meal as a broke student in college?
One, amen to all of those points because that I felt every last one of those. My go-to meal, honestly, turkey and cheese sandwich with some chips. That was my go-to meal.
Oh,
I
wow.
I got just some mayonnaise, maybe some mustard, grab some turkey and cheese, 2 slices of bread. That was my lunch and even dinner for a lot of nights. So that was more of my, if you want to call it a struggle meal. I don't consider it a struggle meal, but
Okay.
if you wanted to call it that, as we college students affectionately refer to all our meals as struggle meals, it was a very good one. Very not as I recommend it to anybody who's balling on a budget, as we say, as Mr. Stewart just said.
So now, this is the end of the first semester, and you have completed. Now you're going into your sophomore year. What was your
Mhm.
grades at the end of the first semester? Because you said you was on the dean's list
Yes,
twice.
Dean's List first semester and second semester. Thank
Okay.
God. That because it plays into what I said earlier. I want these people that have gotten me in this place proud.
Okay.
Whether it be you that gave me the opportunity on the job to even get me in a comfortable financial spot, whether it be my family members getting me the things I needed for college, all the utensils, everything I needed.
Hmm.
I want to perform. I don't want these people to look and go, man, that money would have been better spent elsewhere. Because everyone will think that. They'll never say it to you because they're family. They love you.
Right.
But
Right.
everyone will have those moments where they go, he didn't take the best chance of that opportunity. I refuse to be. So
Okay. All
that's
right.
it.
What's your GPA?
3.76 now. So, a couple B's away from that 4.0, unfortunately. A
Okay. All
couple
right.
B's kept me out. But I am very happy to be sporting an all A 1B record in my first semester and an all A in 1B. Well, I had a withdrawal in my second semester, unfortunately. One of my teachers had a problem and I had to withdraw from class, but
One
all A's in 1B.
one of your teachers had a problem, or was it you had a problem?
There's
Okay,
always
I leave that one alone right now. But
Yeah, we'll leave that one alone for now.
before we leave, give us some, for the viewers who's watching. What
Yes.
message would you leave to viewers about college?
I will say one thing very important. I'm actually glad you asked that.
Hmm.
If you're thinking about whether you want to go back to college, I don't care how old you are. I don't care if you feel this isn't for me or I don't know if I have what it takes. I strongly advise you, if there's even a sliver of you that wants that chance, you can do it. I promise you can. And if you can't, at least give it your all because you'll learn something about yourself. If there's one thing I can say in college, you will learn something, whether it be about yourself or whether it be about what you want to do, you will learn. So that's my closing nugget. And thank you so much for having me. This was amazingly fun to talk about.
Well, I am so glad that you came on to share your first year as a freshman at Gordon College, and I wish you the best and much success. And I want you to come back again
Absolutely.
after your next
sophomore
sophomore year. But before we leave, one of your friends is going to be on next week.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Elijah Maddock.
Happy to see that. I can't wait to see that
A
spotlight.
senior who's going to be on next week. That both of you guys went to high school together, I believe.
Yes, we did.
Okay. Well, once again, Kai, wish you the very best. Feel free to come back, and I'm gonna make a note on this. I will be challenging you as usual this summer. So
I'll be ready for it. I'll try and be.
Tell your mother and everybody I said hello, all right?
Absolutely.
That is Ty. That is Ty. Congratulations, and come back again and see us again, all right?
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
No problem. That was Kai, and I'm always having fun with him. But as I stated before, next week guest will be Elijah Maddock, who's in his senior year. He has a story to tell, and he's a model, athletic, doing very well, and he's going to share some of his wisdom for next week. Make sure you tune in. Before we leave, I'm always having my last final words that I'm always saying, that whatever you're facing, don't quit. Your next step matters. Once again, everybody have a nice Memorial Day for Monday, May the 25th, in honor of the veterans and their family. Until then, everybody enjoy the weekend and be safe. Good night.